my honor to introduce to you Carol Thompson.
Hello. How is everybody? I'm going to ask if I need the microphone. Can you guys? I do need it. Okay. All right. Perfect. All right. I got to be able to use my hands, so this is going to be hard for me. All right. So good morning. As Maggie said, my name is Carol Thompson, and I am a certified executive coach through IPEC, which is the Institute of Professional Excellence in Coaching. The secondary thing that I'm certified in is the Energy Leadership Index Assessment, which all of you took. So first of all, I want to thank everybody. I was blown away by the fact that every single person took it and got it back to me in time to get the results. So give yourselves a round of applause. Thank you guys very much. I really, really appreciate it. So before we start digging into this, I want to ask a question. And by the way, I have candy up here for anybody who volunteers, so I will bribe you. What did you think as you were taking the assessment? What did you think as you were taking it? And this is be real honest space. What went through your mind? Anybody? Yes. Okay. Oh no, another one of these. Perfect. Who else? Yes. Okay, all right. Anybody else? No? So you were probably wondering, what the heck is this about? How many of you have taken Myers-Briggs? How many of you have taken other assessments, leadership assessments? Okay, great. I will tell you one of the many reasons I like this assessment. This assessment is not a personality assessment, okay? I remember the first time I did the DISC profile, and this was a long time ago, and they had flip charts on the wall, right, for all the different, things, D-I-S-C, and I was the only D, and it was kind of like the D stands alone under my little sign, right, kind of embarrassing. What's great about this assessment is it is not labeling you. This assessment is attitudinal, okay, and what that means is, where are you at right now in this moment in your life, right? And as you were answering those questions, assuming you all answered them honestly, you're going to have an opportunity to understand yourself just a little bit better. One of the things that I have learned, and I wish I would have done this training myself many, many years ago, is as I've gained a deeper understanding of myself, and then in turn kind of combining it with this energy stuff we're going to talk about today, I have actually empowered myself to choose how I'm going to show up. To choose how I'm going to show up. Now, I'm going to give you an example of what I used to do. When I was 17, I enlisted in the Air Force. I came from a very dysfunctional family. I was like, hey, I'm peace out. I'm going to go do my thing. 17 years old, delayed enlistment to go into the Air Force. I turned 18 in November, and in January, I find myself in boot camp. I am the youngest girl in the flight. I am the youngest one there. But I have attitude, okay? I have a big chip on my shoulder. I have attitude. Any veterans in the room? Anybody? Oh, awesome. What branch? Army? Oh, God bless you, yes. Marine Corps. God, love you. Yay, yay. Give all these guys love. So you guys know. So 17, young, right? A little fiery, a little defiant. I go down there, going through our thing. About the third day, they file us all into this big auditorium. We're all sitting in there. And you have to fill out this paper. You guys are in this, they always have you filling out paper. So you're filling out paper, and as it wrapped up, the drill instructor is walking down the aisle, and he's saying, pass your papers down. Now, the whole time he was up there giving very specific instructions, because it's the military, like pick up your pen, don't do anything till we tell you, right? Giving very specific instructions, I wasn't listening, right? Because I was defiant. He picks up the papers at the end of the aisle, he's flipping through them, and he goes, who's Gattuso? Now, I want to give you the scenario here. That's my maiden name. The scenario is drill instructor, probably 6 foot, chiseled out, big old hat, right? All scary, scary. And he goes, who's Gattuso? And I say, I am, what about it? Okay? True story. Now, my friends that are veterans will totally understand what he did. Now, this is back 1981. Women had only been in the Air Force for about 7 years, so it was kind of new, right? He reached across the people near me, grabbed me by the dog chains, and pulled me out of the aisle and said, I'm sending you to mental health because clearly you are crazy. Okay? The point of my story is this. That reaction, that I am what about it, was part of my DNA at that time. We all learn our behaviors based on our life experiences, right? Our value systems, the people that we're with, right? We learn all these things and they innately become a part of us. And what happens is when we're having a good day, we can show up all fabulous and we're high-fiving and we're doing all these things. But when stress shows up, right? Stress with our children, with our relationships, with the coworker who's always annoying you, right? Whatever that is, when that stress shows up, what happens sometimes? What happens? You kind of give up those best things about yourself, right? Because you go into what's called fight or flight mode. Under stress, it is very normal. You will immediately go to kind of those old habits that maybe at one time were serving you, right? Maybe there was a time in your life when that really served you, but suddenly you realize it's not appropriate here. Well, I learned very quickly in basic training, I am what about it was not appropriate in that environment. But when it came out of my mouth, I didn't even think about it, all right? So we're gonna talk a lot about this today, and we're gonna talk about awareness, why it's so important, and we're gonna talk about how you can use your energy and get familiar with your energy and get really honest with yourself so that when you find yourself in situations where you go, oh God, this is the part where I'm gonna get crazy, right? Or this is the part where I'm gonna lose my patience, or this is the part where I'm gonna strike out, you have an opportunity to take a step back, get in that, own it, and find a way to do something different. People that master the ability to respond versus react are masters of their life. And what I mean by that is, I'm not talking about financial success or anything like that. They literally understand how to find joy without letting external factors drag them down. Any questions on that so far? All right, awesome. When you guys come in, I asked you to grab a card that kind of reflected how you're feeling in this moment. Did everybody get a chance to do that? If you didn't, they're right back there on the table. Go ahead and grab it. Anybody want to share the card they picked and why they picked it? Yeah, go ahead and grab those, guys, if you didn't yet. Anybody want to share? Yes, please. Yeah, please, I'm going to bring the mic over to you, friend. Go ahead.
I chose the power button just because I stayed out till like 10:30, which is extremely late for me. So I'm on, but I had to turn myself on today.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. That's awesome. Give her some love, you guys. Thank you for volunteering. Okay, thank you. We're gonna. Anybody want to help with candy? I want to make sure my volunteers get taken care of. I'll do. Okay, perfect. Thank you. It takes a whole bunch of people to facilitate my classes. Okay, there we go. All right, one more share. What did somebody else pick? Thank you.
Mine is this person just looking at the stars sky, and for me it represented the world of possibilities, and that just opened to me today.
Awesome.
Oh, and yesterday.
Awesome. I love that. Give her some love, you guys. So awareness is like the sun. When it shines on things, they are transformed. As we become more aware, we can change. And first thing I want to make sure everybody understands, anything we're talking about in here today is neither good or bad or right or wrong. This is kind of our little nest. I want you to imagine this is our little nest. It's a judgment-free zone. You are perfectly safe and able to speak about whatever you want. And what my commitment to you is, there is no judgment here, okay? So as we begin to look at ourselves and become more aware of who we are, I offer you to do that gently, right? Nobody's perfect. That's not what this is about. But when we can really have those moments of honesty where we can say, you know what? I could show up better in this marriage. I could show up better in my relationship with my best friend, right? I could show up better as a parent to my difficult teenager or grandkid or whatever you got going on. And really encouraging ourselves to do that little bit of work, that little extra effort to make sure that all of those relationships in your life, that you have an opportunity to impact them in a very positive way. In terms of leadership, and by a show of hands, and I'm going to use a word, I think it will resonate for everybody. It's the only word I can come up with right now. Who in the room has ever worked for a boss you would call, I'm going to use the word toxic. Anybody ever worked for a boss you would call toxic? Okay. So when you work with somebody every day that is that way, what happens to you? What was happening for you when that was going on? Yes? Say that again? Depleted you. Very draining, right? Very, very draining. Thank you very much. Who else? It's traumatic. It's trauma. It's trauma. Stressful. The beauty of energy leadership, guys, is that you're going to have tools leaving here today. And listen, there's lots of work you can do on this. I coach people for 13 months sometimes on this stuff. But you can leave here today, if you choose to, with enough tools to start really getting honest with yourself about that behavior is how that person's defining their story. That has nothing to do with me. And if you choose to show up in a way, right, that feels bullying or whatever word we want to fill in the blank with, I want to empower you to say, you can choose to go, yeah, not today. I'm not doing that. I'm not engaging in that, right? I am choosing peace, right? And honestly, if you really think about it, the thing that is hardest about life is our interactions with other people, right? That's what's hard. So when we can learn to really navigate that in a way that demonstrates self-care, in a way that says, you know what, I'm a good person. I don't need to get all crazy and tell everybody off just because I can. I'm just going to take a step back, right, and let them do them. But I'm going to do me. How does that sound to you guys? Does it make sense? You can clap. That's okay, because it's cool if you can do that. All right. We kind of covered that already. Okay. So energy leadership, let's kind of start getting into it. I know you're anxious to kind of dig into your results, but you got to let me give you some of the foundation so that it'll resonate for you a little bit better. Leadership is simply what? What do you think leadership is at its core? The answer's on the board. What is it? What is it?
Shout out the answer.
Yeah. It's influence, right? It's influence. And as we talk about leadership today, I want you guys to know I'm talking about leadership in your life. I don't believe that we wear different hats. I'm just like, people go, well, I have my work hat on. I don't believe that. You are one human being moving through your life, right? You got to own it. So how do you want to move through your life? How do you want to flow, whether it's at home, with your kids, at work, right? You're one person, and you're a great, amazing person. I don't want you to take your hat off. I want you to wear that hat proudly, right? And remember that leadership is simply the ability to influence someone else. If 10 of you leave here today and go, man, I took a lot out of that. Well, I led you today, right? I had a positive, uplifting influence on you. Follow? Okay, perfect. A leader is an individual in an interaction, knowingly or unknowingly, creates a greater influence on the other person. Energy leadership is the process of leading energy so it works for you, not against you. I'm going to say that again, because this was a big one for Carol Thompson, okay? Because I was pretty fiery. I'm telling you, I had to put my sword down. Energy leadership is the process of leading energy so that it works for you, not against you. I'm going to tell you a funny story. You guys, right? You guys interact with animals. You interact with victims of domestic violence. I will tell you, for me, when Stacy offered for me to come do this, I was so excited because I think for you guys, for anybody it's valuable, but for you guys that are dealing with people in trauma or pets in trauma, this stuff is super powerful, you guys, especially when you're engaging with a community that is maybe hyper, right, elevated, right, hyper trauma, coming out of really difficult things. The more you master this, you are going to help those people to bring their energy down. A few years ago, Stacy and I went to a resort, a spa thing. It's called Miraval. And it's kind of like this little bougie thing, and you go and you do yoga. Well, she does yoga. I just fall over. But you do yoga. You eat healthy food, right? It's beautiful. You take walks, right? It's all these things. And Stacy and I signed up for this equestrian leadership experience. We're like, this sounds cool. And she loves animals. I'm like, okay, this is great. I'm scared to death of horses, by the way. Okay, too big for me. All right. So we go there, and the woman that's teaching us was phenomenal, and she's explaining, which I'm sure all of you know, that animals are hypersensitive to your energy. They feel it, they know exactly what's going on. Now let me paint the picture for you. At the time, I was in the heat of my career in gaming, right? I was working like an animal. I was dealing with a kid who was having all kinds of drama, who's great now, by the way, but I had a lot going on, okay? There was a lot of stuff happening in my life. We go there, and we're going to do this thing with the horses. Stacy walks into the ring. So the lady says, listen, when you walk in, the horse is going to feel your energy. And she tells you how to do it. You walk into the middle, you interact with the horse. He's going to kind of rub up against you. When you go to leave, he might not let you out, right? And she explained all this. So people are going in, and I'm watching these beautiful interactions with people. And then, of course, Stacy goes in, and the horse is like packing his bag. He wants to go home with her. The horse is totally responding to people in this very, very gentle way. I didn't have a lot of awareness back then, by the way. And she'll tell you this is a true story. I walked in that ring with that horse, and what do you think he did? Started running at top speed around and around and around and around. And now I'm standing there because I'm scared of him already. Now he's running around everywhere. Well, she's kind of like feeling bad, but she's actually laughing so hard she's crying. But the horse is running and running and running, and I'm like, oh my God, like what is happening here? Well, what was happening there is my energy and my state of urgency and everything has to happen right now and everything's my responsibility and, I'm never going to get this right. I'm not going to be able to do all that energy. That horse felt every single bit of it. And I will tell you that that was a sad day for me, but it was also a gift for me because that's when my journey of I got to get it together came to be. Make sense? Okay. You guys that are dealing with people in trauma, dealing with pets coming out of trauma, when you master this, or if you choose to at least get kind of good at it, I promise you it will pay huge dividends in your life.
Carol, can I quick inter?
Yeah,
One
please,
sec.
please.
And sorry, I just visualized the whole thing. Sorry.
No,
but
it was fun.
But I think her words at that time were a great example of, in her mind, when the hotel director came up to her and she said, I'd like to see you get this done before our meeting this afternoon. In her mind, she heard just that. And he heard, why isn't it not done? How come it's not? Well, I have to remind you again. Da, da, da. And so it was really powerful to watch her understand that what she was saying wasn't what people were hearing because of and feeling because of her energy. And obviously that's the magic of a horse, where you're not allowed to say anything in that ring. Like, you have to just walk in and walk, and if the horse follows you, then okay, it's a safe energy. Or if the horse refused, there was one woman, she just stood there and she was so timid, and the horse just looked at her like, what do you got? And she was like, please me, right? And he's like, right? But it was, I think the helpful part was, because she could hear herself say, no, I just asked him to, if it could get done before the 2 o'clock meeting. And the horse showed her that it sounded like, but it's meaningful.
It's very meaningful. And here's what I want to remind you guys of. Remember that I was telling you kind of that DNA thing, it's kind of part of you. I want you to take a minute. You don't have to share if you don't want, but I want you to just go here with me. I want you to think about the way you were brought up, okay? And I want you to, and look, yeah, no good or bad, right? Whatever. We all got our stories. We all do whatever our parents do their best. And think about the household that you grew up in. I grew up in a household, my father was a Marine, then he was a New York City cop, okay? And he had 4 daughters. So needless to say, there wasn't a lot of, ballerinas or cheerleaders running around, right? We weren't raised in that kind of an environment. Those things that we're brought up with, and again, they're not good or bad, we just have to understand that you learn some of those behaviors, right? You learn how to react versus respond. And what I'm offering you is when you're under stress, there's the opportunity to do something better. So let's talk about, or not better, different. Let's talk about the 2 kinds of energy, because this is really important when you guys were taking your assessment. How many of you guys read through that? And it's okay if you didn't, but did anybody read through the booklet before you came in today? A few of you guys? So some of this stuff will be familiar, and I invite you to jump in. Catabolic energy is the draining energy. Somebody said over there that when they had the toxic boss, right, it felt very draining to them. Catabolic energy, very draining, right? It's not really productive. It's not good or bad either, though. Remember, it's not good or bad. I'm on page 2 in your report if anybody's wanting to follow, but in case you do. Catabolic energy is what you tap into typically when you're under stress, for example, a deadline, right? Sometimes don't you hear yourself go, I do better under pressure. You know, I do great under pressure. That's when I do some of my best work. The problem is when you're working under pressure, right, and you're putting all that stress on yourself, that's catabolic energy that you're tapping into. Now, again, you're going to get the job done, but typically when it's over, you kind of feel like, oh my God, thank God it's over, right? You're happy to be done with it. The difference is, and we're going to talk about it in a moment, is anabolic energy. When I first started training years and years ago, I always loved it. And people would tell me I was really good at it. But before I would get into that classroom, I would be very, very nervous. And I would put a lot of pressure on myself and a lot of stress on myself. And guess what? I'd go out there and do my best, and I think I was pretty good. But when it was over, it never felt fun for me, right? It didn't feel fun for me because I had put so much pressure on myself to do things a certain way and be great and yada, 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 right? The difference now, and I'll give you an example, preparing for this, I couldn't wait to come here and see you guys, right? I couldn't wait. I was like, this is going to be great. I'm going to go there. I'm going to do my best. They're going to do their best. We're going to have a great time. They're going to leave with some great tools. That's the difference. And that energy is what we call anabolic energy. If you, I don't think I'm using the mic. Can everybody hear me? Yeah? Okay. If you can't, let me know. Anabolic energy is the energy of completion. Right? Anabolic energy is when we can see all kinds of options and alternatives. Oh, you can't hear me. I'm sorry. Can you hear me now? Is this thing on? Okay. Anabolic energy is what allows you to create, right? Someone just a minute ago was saying, I think it was a lady right there, that after these 2 days, they were feeling very open and creative and excited. That's anabolic energy. When you bring anabolic energy to anything, to this room, raising your kids, engaging with your spouse, in your workplace, you will get very different results. Anybody agree with that? And who agrees with that? If I bring good energy, and I'm not talking about positive and negative, if I bring good energy to something, my results are different. Does that make sense? Anybody have an example of a time they brought really good energy to something and they were like, yes, because you nailed it? Anybody got an example of that? Something you felt really good about. You were excited going in? Yes, please.
Having that moment where like you're really stressed on whether or not it's going to work out, just kept thinking like, I want this job. I'm going to love this job. I'm going to get it. And I felt so amazing after it. And 9 months later, here I am.
Awesome. Give her some love, you guys. That's awesome. That's awesome. We'll give you some candy too, my friend. So that's a really good example, right? We can go into a job interview like, oh, dear God, this is the 5th interview I've been on, and we just kind of do that whole thing. Guys, this is different than like negative and positive self-talk. This is about getting in your body and knowing what it feels like to you. When you are in a catabolic state, you're under a lot of stress, maybe you're having a disagreement with a family member. We've all been there, right? Does anybody have awareness around what happens in your body? My body might be different than yours. Can anybody describe, like, when I'm stressed out, I feel, do you have an idea, sir? What do you feel when you're stressed or?
One of the things that stressed me most, I was married for 22 years. When that was collapsing around me, it would, all my feelings just seemed to collapse inside me.
Yes.
And I was constantly, because I had kids, I was constantly trying to monitor, I am down and out, but I was trying to make myself come up so my kids would have a stable environment.
Yes.
But definitely processing through all that. I've rarely had that on the job because when I have a, pardon me, a butthole boss, I'm able to, this is my square, this
Good
is
for
where
you.
I can affect things.
Good for you. But when it really mattered to you,
yes,
when it
yes.
really mattered, thank you for, give him love. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you so much. That's so powerful, guys, right? So here's the crazy thing. What's your first name? I'm sorry. Eric. Here's the crazy thing, Eric. Here's the thing. That catabolic energy that he was pushing through, because what did we hear him say? Who was he pushing through for? His children. How many of us have done it? Raise your hand, raise them high and proud, guys, high and proud, right? How many times are you ready to roll up in a ball, but you don't, right? Because these kids are depending on you. But here's the thing. Even though you might not be showing it, it's happening. And it's happening in your body. And catabolic energy, I get goosebumps talking about this because I'm telling you, I was like a ball of energy rolling around the universe all the time. Catabolic energy over time, it can really affect, obviously, your mental health, but it can affect your physical health tremendously. It can affect your emotional health tremendously. When you think about anabolic and catabolic energy, I want you guys to remember, they're not good or bad, they're just very different energies, right? I'll give you an example. Catabolic energy. If a lion came running in this room right now, and you guys were sitting there and he was chasing after me, right? Now, I'm not a runner, clearly, I don't run, okay? But if he's chasing after me, I'm gonna be like a marathon runner. You're gonna see me running, jumping up on tables. Why? Because I'm afraid. It's fear, right? I have fear, and I'm trying to get away from him, and I'm gonna tap into stuff that I don't normally have access to. So it can be helpful. The challenge is if you do it for too long. If you're a leader who uses catabolic energy for too long, your team isn't really very inspired. Your team isn't really very motivated. What are they? When you're a catabolic leader, right, and you're not really feeling things, you're just kind of telling everybody what to do, right? You're kind of bringing this kind of authoritative energy to work. How do the people around you feel? And some of you may know because you've experienced it. Afraid. You feel afraid, right? So they're going to be nice, and they're going to tiptoe around you, and they're going to do all that. But trust me, they're not going to have your back because you don't build loyalty that way. Now, again, for my Marine in the room and my Army colleague, is there a time and a place to tell people what needs to be done? Of course. But you can't do that all the time, right? We have to be willing to get in it with people and connect with people. The fastest way to building connection is through anabolic energy. I've been so blessed because I had a 20-something year career in gaming, and look, I'm very proud of myself. We did, good things, whatever, but it never felt fun to me. It never felt fun to me. I left, and now I'm doing this, and I'm doing this other gig with a small startup company, and I'm having the best time. You know why? Because I understand myself better. I don't bring my intense energy anymore, right? I'm choosing something different. Everything is different, and the only thing that changed is me. I'm going to say that again. Everything is different, and the only thing that changed is me. On your table, you guys are going to find funny little sunglasses. If you want to throw those on for me for a minute. Just humor me. Just throw those on if you would. If you have them, if not, it's okay. Okay. Every single person sees the world completely different than somebody else. And I'm going to give you a good example of this, right? Whether you've raised kids, have siblings, whatever, people are raised in the exact same house, and they come out what? Different. One kid is like a doctor, curing cancer. The other kid is doing nothing, right? Everybody sees the world through a completely different set of glasses. And I only have a few limited colors here today. The reality is, if I could have got the rainbow package or whatever, not one of us would have the same color. Not one. Does it make sense why there's conflict? Yes. Because what you see, I see completely different, right? It's difficult to get aligned with people. But when we understand that these glasses that we wear, all of us, these lenses, they are a culmination of you, your life, and your experience. And I want you to love that, and I want you to embrace it, and I want you to carry it around and take good care of it. But I also want you to remember, oh, wait a minute, I know what this is right now. I'm feeling really stressed right now. And I know when I feel stressed, I might do this. I'm going to pause. I'm going to take that step back, and I'm going to try something different. One of the best things to do if you're trying to switch your energy, right, and you're trying to kind of pull yourself out of whatever it is that's happening in your body, pause, and I seriously mean that, take a breather. The other thing you can do, and I learned this and I do it all the time, make sure your feet are firmly on the ground, whether you're at a desk, standing in a room, I don't care where you are, get your feet on the ground, take a deep breath. And then I'm going to ask you to get curious, okay? So I'm going to pretend for a minute. I have my glasses on. Chris is your first name, right? Let's pretend Chris and I work together. And Chris says something kind of snippy to me, you know? She's kind of snippy. Ever happen at work? Anybody ever snippy at work? Yeah, happens all the time, right? She gets snippy with me. The reaction would be maybe to what? What might be a reaction to somebody being snippy? Get snippy back, right? Or walk away and talk smack about them, whatever the case may be. What I offer you when you find yourself in those moments when you're triggered, I know you guys understand that language, when you're triggered, is to get curious. Get curious. I wonder what's going on with Chris today that she's acting like that. Because guess what? Chris's behavior has nothing to do with you. We think it does. When someone doesn't treat us the way we want to be treated, we think there's something wrong with us, guys. That's not true. That is what they're doing. How you treat people is what we need to worry about, how we're treating people. We need to worry about how we're engaging. We need to worry about if I'm being snippy to Chris, right? But how that person's responding or how that person's treating you is an opportunity to go, I wonder what's up with her today. She's been doing that a lot lately, right? And then what might you do? Ask her. If you want to show up in a really great way, right? You want to show up completely different. And let me tell you, people don't expect it. I had a guy just do it at the office yesterday. If you show up and go, hey, are you okay? Everything okay? Not like condescending, but sincerely say, hey, are you okay? I really value our relationship. I can tell you're really buried right now. Is there anything I can do for you? People don't know what to do with that because we've all been kind of conditioned to kind of keep our swords up, right? You don't have to do that. We can do something different, show up differently. I'm going to pause for a minute and get some thoughts because there's smart people in the room. What do you guys? Any thoughts on what we've talked about so far? Anybody? I have candy. What are you guys thinking?
I'm not being attacked. Thank you. I'm not being attacked, and it's something that we every day we tell our clients, right? Domestic violence is not about you; it's about the abuser. It's their choice. So, providing this perspective of it's not an attack. It's something that they're dealing with that definitely gives us enough space to take the steps that we need to solve whatever underlying issue is there. I like it. Thank you.
Same vein of what she was going to say, we tell the staff that about trauma-informed care as well. Like, they're not cussing you out because it's you. It's more about their situation than anything, so.
Yes, and thank you so much. Give her some love to you guys, yes. And here's the thing, right? It's easy to say it, and I get that, you guys. It's easy to say these things, but putting them into action is a whole nother thing. What I offer you today as we walk through this is, what are you willing to try on? What are you willing to kind of put on and try it in the next intense interaction, or try it with a teenage kid who's maybe giving you a hard time, or try it with your partner, or try it with your boss, right? Because the more you try it on and you kind of go, man, I got a completely different reaction than I typically get, you're going to feel more empowered. The ability to manage your energy, and we're going to talk about energy in 7 different levels, we've really simplified it, is going to help you understand your default when you're under stress. How do I act when I'm under stress? It's going to let you know kind of how you are when we look at you overall, right? So there's you in your everyday life, right? And then there's you under stress. And we kind of combine those together to understand where you are at on an average. And it also is going to tell us a little bit about how successful you can be. And when I use the word success today, number one, you can define that however you want. I define it as having more joy in your life, right? And joy is not skipping through the tulips and yay. Joy is no matter what's happening around me, I'm going to maintain my peace. No matter what's happening around me, I'm going to stay grounded, right? Because that's what I need to do for me. When you're on an airplane and the stewardess is up there, and unfortunately people never listen to them, I always feel bad for them, but the flight attendant is up there, what do they always say about the oxygen mask if you're traveling with a kid? What do they say? Put yours on first and then do the kid. Same thing. I'm just offering you that before we can support other people, before we can influence and lead other people, we have to lead ourselves. We have to lead ourselves and show up in a manner that is conducive with our values and the person that we are or the person that we're evolving to be. Make sense to everybody? All right, awesome. Any questions? All right. So really quick, what you can learn, I'll go through these quickly. From the ELI, you can learn letting energy work for you, not against you, right? We've been talking about that. Reveals how you show up so you can respond versus react. Uncovers your unique outlook on the world, right? Your glasses, how are you looking at the world? Raises your self-awareness. This is on page 4 in your booklet. And how to let go of limiting perceptions and make new choices. Does anybody know what I mean by limiting perceptions? Or want to take a stab at that? What is limiting perceptions? Anybody? What would you think a limiting belief is? Something that you might, Stace? All, yep, all pit bulls are bad. They're all bad, they're all vicious, they're gonna eat your kids, right? That's a limiting belief that we've been taught, right? We've been conditioned, yes? Okay, say more about that. Yeah. Yeah, we label them a certain thing, right? What about a limiting belief that we put on ourselves? What's a limiting belief we might put on ourselves? Yes?
That we have less power than we have, and so we believe that we cannot actually affect change.
Okay, great, thank you. Thank you very much. What's another limiting belief we might or maybe you've experienced that you've put on yourself? Trying to get a new job? And what holds you back, do you think? What might be a limiting belief that holds you back? Doubting yourself, right? I'm not smart enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not this enough. You can fill that blank in with whatever you want. The power of the energy leadership assessment, guys, is not that we're not going to, look, we're human. We don't walk around, some people do, but not very many of us. We don't walk around going, man, I got this nailed, I'm perfect. Nobody does that. We all have these things that we're working on, right? We're always trying to get better, always trying to evolve. The energy leadership assessment is going to help you to identify those things, because here's the thing. That soundtrack that you are playing in your head every day, you guys know what I'm talking about? You're going to become really aware of that after this class today. When you're driving to work, I want you to think about, what am I saying in my head? When you're, sitting at the kids' soccer game, right, and there's kind of dead space, what's going on in your head? That voice, that video, that whatever, you are the director of all of that. You have complete control over what's going on in your mind, right? And we can say, I'm not good enough, I'm scared to go for this interview, I'm not qualified enough, or we can tap back into our life and go, wait a minute, you know what? I've had other interviews before, I've gotten other jobs before. There is just as much opportunity for me to be successful as not. But sometimes we're focusing more on the not, right? Make sense? All right. 7 levels of energy, and again, we're gonna get into these a little bit more. The really cool thing about this is energy is something that for a long time couldn't be quantified, right? It's like, how do you put a label around that? Have you ever heard yourself say, that person has really good energy? Anybody ever said that? Like, that person has really good energy, right? Or, man, that person has like scary energy. You can kind of feel it, right? It's been hard to kind of quantify that. Well, IPAC through their founder, Bruce Schneider, found a way to quantify it so that we could all of us, could learn from it and continue to build on our ability to lead by managing our energy. And there's 7 levels. The first 2 are catabolic. Levels 1 and level 2 are catabolic. Somebody tell us real quick, catabolic energy is what? Describe it quick. Say it louder. Draining, yep, it's kind of draining, it kind of holds us back. And then all the other 5 are anabolic, and anabolic energy is the energy that builds us up, right? Creativity, all of that. So they put this together to help us understand and quantify our levels of energy. Now remember, we all have all of them, okay? So there's no D, nobody's like, I'm a 4. That's not what this is. You all have all seven levels of energy, right? And you're moving in and out of them throughout the day. You might even be moving in and out of them moment by moment, moment by moment. It just depends on who you are. The really cool thing is when you embrace this, and if you choose to embrace it, what you'll figure out is I can actually kind of look at my life, my situation, my work, my relationship moment by moment if I choose to. And the other thing that happens is you'll start understanding the people around you better. Because moment by moment, I'm watching Kimberly go from positive, enthusiastic, and suddenly something changes for her. If I'm her leader, I can go, wow, what was that? I wonder what's going on with her. I can ask her, right? Or I can observe and try to figure out what's the dynamic here. Is there something going on between her and somebody else in the workplace that maybe I'm missing, right? Like something that doesn't feel good. Energy leadership gives you the opportunity to choose in any given moment how you want to show up. You're going to a wedding. There's a family member there that you haven't talked to in 10 years. Happens, right? Couple of choices you have, right? Don't go, right? Some of us might go, yeah, I'm going to skip that one, right? I'm going to send a gift. Or you go and you say what? What could you do? Yeah, you could interact. You could say, hey, we haven't talked in a long time. Or you could go and maybe you guys just give each other space. That's okay too. But you get to decide in that moment how you want to handle that interaction. It's a little bit different than showing up and you're waiting for them to say something and you're like, oh, it's on now, right? It's happening. We're doing this now. Right now we're doing it, right? Am I being truthful? This happens, you guys. A lot of fights break out at family weddings. At least in my family they do, right? It happens. Okay. All right. Catabolic energy, level 1. It's driven by guilt, fear. It's a victim mindset. When I say victim mindset, I want to be careful with that word. What I mean is, why is this happening to me? Right? You're in traffic. You're trying to get somewhere, right? If you're in level 1 or level 2, things like this are going through your head. This always freaking happens to me. Every time I'm trying to get somewhere, this is happening to me, right? That's level 1. Level 2 is a little bit more fueled by anger. Are you kidding me? None of these people know how to drive. It's only, drizzling out there. Why is everybody putting their brakes on? Because you're mad now, right? That's level 2, okay? Those are kind of the differences. Level 1 is a little bit more of like, why is this happening to me? Level 2 is more like, I'm going to get real with this. I'm mad about this, right? This is causing me frustration. When you guys came in today, I asked you to pick a card that kind of depicted how you're feeling today. I did that because one of the first steps in being able to shift your energy or get your energy to work for you is you got to get real with what you're feeling. And, my husband, we've been married for 40 years. Matter of fact, I'm cracking up. I did the energy assessment on him. I can't even, he's like a 6. I'll tell you guys what that means in a little while. But most of his energy is 6, which shocks me. But a lot of times we don't want to think about how we're feeling, right? A lot of times we're just not even aware of it. But if you're going into something that could potentially be triggering or hard, job interview, you're nervous, whatever, I want you to get in the habit of thinking, if I were going to pick a card up right now of how I'm feeling in this moment, what would that look like for me? And if I'm going for a job interview and I feel like maybe a little kid in a corner, I got to own that for a second and go, wait a minute now, I want this job, right? I got to go in there confident. I got to go in there feeling good about who I am. And I'm going to make that shift because I'm going to remember who I am. Instead of focusing what I'm not, I'm going to focus on what I am. I'm strong. I'm successful. I have lots of experience for this job that I'm applying for. I've gotten other jobs before, right? And making that shift and change. So getting honest with yourself. You don't have to tell the world. You don't have to run around going, right now I'm feeling this. I mean, that's not what we're talking about. What we are talking about is getting with yourself and saying, I know exactly how I feel whenever I walk into this space, and I don't want to feel that way anymore. I don't want to feel that. I want to feel that way when I walk into my mom's house. I don't want to feel that way when I park my car at work, right? So I'm going to shift how I'm feeling and move a little bit to what do I want to feel like, okay? But you got to be honest about what's happening. Okay, 7 levels of energy. Can we get a volunteer to read level 1? It's okay to volunteer. Yay! Volunteer? Thank you. Right over here.
And believe that external circumstances control their lives. It's characterized by thoughts and feelings of fear, worry, and self-doubt.
Okay, great, thank you. Who wants to read level 2?
This level is marked by conflict, competition, and a focus on control. People operating at this level tend to see the world through a binary lens, significantly reducing their available options and opportunities.
Okay, and we've been talking about that, right? Level 1 and level 2. Every energy level has advantages and disadvantages because they're not good or bad, right? But they have advantages and disadvantages. Level 1 often protected you from harm. People that have a lot of level 1 energy under stress, and again, however you want to define harm, somewhere along the way, you learn to tap into that for protection of some sort, right? So the advantage is it served you, and it may still serve you, depending upon your circumstance. The disadvantage is when you have a lot of level 1 energy in your energetic makeup, it's hard to be joyful. Does that make sense? It's hard to be joyful when you feel afraid a lot. It's hard to be joyful when you feel guilty about something. It's hard to feel good when you have shame, right? And people have shame, guilt, fear for all kinds of reasons, and I know you guys know that better than me with the kind of work you do, right? People carry around a lot. Level 2, there's a lot of blame and judgment with level 2. I've worked with somebody who every time something goes wrong and the team needs this person the most, they literally come out of their office and the first thing they say is, okay, how did this happen, guys? Right? Who did it? What went wrong? How do we not get ahead of this, right? What is that? What do you call that? What's he looking for? Blame, right? He wants, right now, I want to know who did it. That's catabolic energy. What would an anabolic leader say? How can we fix it, right? Hey guys, let's get together. I know this is really stressful, right? What are we going to do moving forward? Big difference, right? The environment you create for people looks very, very different. Disadvantage, the disadvantage with level 2, obviously, and it's kind of what Stacy and I were joking about, people feel a little bullied. They feel intimidated. And if you have a lot of catabolic energy and you're not aware of it, I was guilty, and you're not aware of it, you're damaging relationships and you don't even know. And that doesn't let you off the hook, by the way. But you're damaging relationships and you don't even know. So by just kind of taking a minute and embracing some of this and going, you know what, I do kind of do that. Or, maybe, this one of my kids is a little triggering for me. The other ones are all good, but this one, boy, just gets underneath my skin, right? And owning that a little bit, right? And how do you want to show up with that kid going forward? So those are important things to keep in mind. All right. Let's go to the next one. Level 3, we're moving into anabolic energy. So here's the thing. Level 3 energy is all about kind of collaboration, keeping the peace. Keeping the peace resonate for anybody? Anybody in the room ever keep the peace? Yeah, we're peacekeepers, right? Keep the peace. Level 3, rationalizing what's going on. She didn't mean it. No, he was just upset, right? You know what? I can do better. I'll help him out. Rationalizing, taking responsibility. And again, not good or bad. Level 3 is the beginning of anabolic energy because you're leaning in and you're being there. But you have to be careful with level 3. Because with level 3, because you tend to be rationalizing a lot, you might be settling, right? You might be saying, it might be good enough. My relationship's good enough, right? My job is good enough. And you may not be achieving that joy, right? We get one shot at life, right? You may not be living your life fully awake in the way that you want. Again, not good or bad. And this doesn't mean every day it's this. You just might have moments in your life where you're using a lot of this. And I just offer you, take a look at that, right? Is there something different you might want to do there? Level 4, and whenever I work with nonprofits, I always see this. Level 4 is compassion and service. That's what it's all about. Compassion and service. At level 4, and I'll have you guys read this in a minute, level 4, abundance of passion, living selflessly, always wanting to give to others, right? The other interesting thing about energy, you guys, is when you really start digging it and getting into it, it'll give you a good idea of what you should be doing, right? It'll give you a good idea of what is it that I can do or be or create to really find a lot of joy. If I have a lot of level 4 energy, I'm probably not running like an oil company, right? Like, that's probably not where I'm like finding my purpose, right? Understanding that can help you. So level 3, somebody read that one real quick. Hello, is this thing on? Thank you. How about number 4, level 4? Yes.
At level 4, people have an abundance of compassion and live for helping others, although sometimes at their own expense. They foster collaboration, teamwork, and loyalty with those they live and work with.
Okay. Thank you very much, you guys. I appreciate it. I want you guys to take a minute now at your tables. I want you to partner up with somebody because you're going to do a few things today where you're going to need a partner. So please work that out amongst yourselves. But grab a partner. If there needs to be 3 of you in a group, that's fine. And I want you to think about level 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I want you to think about a time, now that you kind of understand these levels, pick one, and I want you to jot down a time when you actually realize now that was level 2 energy that I was displaying, or that was level 3 energy that I was displaying. So take a moment. The energy levels are all in your workbooks if you need to refer back. And I want you to work with a partner, pick one of those levels of energy, and I want you to jot down very quickly a time when, now that you kind of know what it looks like, a time that you might have been experiencing that type of energy. Any questions on the activity? You guys got it? All right, let's go. We'll take about 3-4 minutes for that. All right. Let's bring back together you guys. I love that you're all chatting. Makes my heart happy. Everybody's chatting. All right, let's come together. Come together. All right. So you know what the next question is, right? Who wants to share? Who wants to share? Who wants to share level of energy you kind of identified? You're like, man, now I know like when I'm doing that, or something that resonated for you in terms of these first 4 levels of energy. Who's going to share? Eric, thank you, my man. Thank you.
We actually talked about level 1, which is
Great. Do you mind if I
yeah, not at all. We talked about level 1, which is a difficult one to admit to, but like we were all talking about different places in our lives where we felt like that, the loss and how it affected our viewpoint of the entire world. When you feel like you're losing all the time, you look at yourself like you're a loser, instead of like the truth is you're not at all. But we're talking about the processes it took to get us out of that level, and each person's individual, of course.
Awesome. Thank you, Eric. Give these guys a round of applause. That's awesome. Thank you. And remember, everybody has level 1 and 2, guys. It's just life. One more person share. Yes, thank you. I recognize you from the training. Nice to see you.
So I was sharing a level 2 energy, and I was having a conflict with somebody on my staff where I was incredibly frustrated because we just were not communicating well. And I needed something, and the way she wanted me to go about asking for it required more time than it took me to do it myself. It was actually the picture for the poster out there. And she wanted me to fill out a 4-page form to get a picture. And I was so frustrated by that I reacted in a very level 2 energy, which must have come across as very bullying, because my response to her eventually became, fine, I'll do it myself. And I'm realizing now that even though like our entire protocol has changed because we've looked at how we have to do things, that in that moment, she was probably feeling like, why are you attacking me? Like, I'm just telling you, this is my process. And I was questioning her process. So I was questioning something that's core to her. And I was telling her, well, that's great for you, but it doesn't work for me. So I'm just going to do it my way, right? I just have to get this done. I also happened to take this test like the same day, which I realize may not have been the best choice in life. I have the most authentic results you have ever seen of somebody with catabolic energy going on.
Listen, I'm not ashamed. My number 2 is like off the charts. Me and my husband both, I'm like, we both are like really angry underneath. What's that about? Awesome. Give yourselves a big round of applause. I love you guys. I have like little goosebumps everywhere. So you know what's really cool about this though, right? So we were talking earlier about when somebody kind of, like you were kind of acting out a little bit, and again, I'm with your sister, I'm the same way. But let me ask you something. Had that gal with the paperwork and all the flaccata she had going on, what would have been different if she would have said, hey, I hear you. I know I'm probably making a little more of this. Like, what can I do? Like, what would have been different for you had she read your energy?
I think I would have been de-escalated.
Yes, 100%.
And I think if I had read her energy, I also would have de-escalated.
Yes,
But I was
yes.
too much in my own feelings.
100%. We're all up in our feelings. We don't worry about your feelings. I got my own feelings, right? Excellent. Excellent.
For me, this is a real gut check.
I love it.
You know, if somebody doesn't give you the response that you're expecting, I need a picture of a human-animal interaction, and I want to get a picture back, not a request for a 4-page form. To think, why did that person ask me, instead of just giving me the thing I asked for, which was very reasonable, why would they ask me to do this? And had I approached it with curiosity and said, why are they asking me? This is her process. Okay, maybe we can talk about changing the process later. Just do the form.
Just do the form. There you go. There you go. Give her love. And curiosity, I'm telling you guys, curiosity is the best thing that ever happened to me. When people act crazy and the old me would have been like, seriously? I go, I'm really glad you're sharing that with me. Tell me more. Like, I'll just say these really crazy things and I just stay calm. Even though the old me would have been like, are you out of your mind? Like, what are you talking about? I don't do that anymore because that's not who I want to be at this stage of my life, right? That's not who I want to be. Excellent job, you guys. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Okay, we're going to go through these a little quicker. Level 5 is about peaceful, opportunity, focused, right? Level 6 is where intuition kicks in, a lot of joy. One thing I want to tell you about level 5 that's pretty cool. Level 5 is typically notable leaders, people that are very successful in leadership roles, and now I am kind of talking about like, you know, job titles, but they typically have a lot of level 5 energy. Okay, so level 5 is a really good energy. If you take on a new job, if you just got handed a big old project, you've got something you're working on that's really important. Level 5 is really good because you're very open, you're very optimistic, you see opportunity everywhere. You're cool, you're calm, you're collected, right? We just had a guy join our team, and I won't say his name, but I wouldn't, because he's fabulous, I wouldn't be embarrassed to, but he's our new chief operating officer. And I love this guy. And I love this guy because without even giving him the assessment, I already know he's got so much level 5 that it's just phenomenal. And he's completely opposite of the president, right? So this is great because now we got a little bit of balance going on. Level 5 people are very, very strong in business and they move through their life almost like they're gliding. They've kind of like figured out the flow, you know what I mean? There's not a lot of highs and lows with them. They've kind of got that part dialed in. Level 6 people, deep connection with others. Every experience is an opportunity. As a result, they feel a lot of satisfaction, a lot of joy, right? That's what level 6 is. So as you can see, as we're going up, right, because we started at 1, we're going to 7, none are good or bad. The more we can learn to tap into our anabolic energy, the more successful we can be, the less work feels like work, right? We can maybe get a little bit more connected to those people that we might have a difficult time connecting to. Level 6 people with a lot of level 6, my husband's got a level 6. I can tell you something funny. I didn't know my husband had a lot of level 6. We've been married 40-something years. I'm going to be honest with you guys about something I did. I had him take this assessment probably like 4 months ago. And we've been together so long. Like he took it and then I forgot to even debrief him, which was really lame. Like, why did I do that, right? I just kind of like checked it off. Well, when I was coming to do the training, I wanted to have a booklet that when we get to your results, I could hold up, you know, because he won't care that I'm using his. Anyway, so I pull the booklet out because I'm coming to do this class, and I actually take the time to look at my husband's profile. So I'm admitting to you guys, like, that was really lame that I didn't look at it. But he has a ton of level 6 energy. And you know what? It actually makes sense because my husband wakes up every day in a good mood to the point that it's annoying to me. I'm just being very honest. It's completely annoying to me. He's like always in a good mood. Everything, he could be washing the car or fishing and he's in the same mood. Like it just never changes. So funny. But anyway, so level 6 people, they're kind of cruising as well, but they're actually very joyful. They like connection. They like connection with other humans. They're not gonna give up who they are for it, but they like a lot of connection. All right. Level 7, total awareness. We all have the opportunity to tap into level 7. Very few people master this. Level 7 is someone who actually, most of the time, is walking through their life with no judgment. Now again, when I use the word judgment, we all have it, right? Things like good, bad, that's judgment. Right, wrong, that's judgment, right? I'm good, you're not, you know, or I'm better at this than you. We all have judgment. When people tap into level 7, they have really kind of learned that everything is as it should be. A lot of times very spiritual people have a lot of level 7, right? They believe in a higher power, right? They believe that there's something bigger than themselves. They don't get hung up in this earthly nonsense and drama that we have going on down here, right? A lot of times they have a lot of strong spiritual faith. So we all have the opportunity to tap into that. Level 7 energy, I'll give you an example. You have a child, I had a child in crisis one time. When I got on my knees and prayed for help and my child did get better, I can tell you, I know what that felt like. That level 7 of feeling that something bigger than me has just happened here, right? Anybody ever had like a miracle? Like I'm going to call it a miracle. You can call it whatever you want. Yes? Would you want to share? Okay, I love that.
But I'll tell you this shortly. And I'm a level 7, very spiritual.
Good.
And we're in ministry before we're in taking care of
nice.
people and animals.
Yep.
And I mean that like in a circle there, before I get mugged. So, but here's a really weird, how weird I am. I'm a perfect 6 and some 7. But because of my age, and I work with all these really young, techie, smart people,
Amen.
it drives me to 1.
Yeah.
Because I said, you know what, I've got this done. I've only been doing this 27 years. And then this real smart person says, oh, well, I've got a better idea. I'm like, well, that don't matter right now.
Yep.
So I drive to 1 because I'm offended because I don't have that level of intelligence or that techiness to finish that day, because it's going to take me 4 days to accomplish this. It's going to take them 45 minutes.
Yes.
And I'm so ticked off, and I'm like, hey, that's great. I just want to choke the fire out of it.
Yeah.
So-
Amen. I'm with you.
So,
I'm with you.
so I go back to 1. So getting to 6, it doesn't take me long.
Yep.
I mean, getting to 7 doesn't take me long, but 6, I'm warm and fuzzy, and
Yep.
I'm got you back, and
Yep.
I'll push. If you just take a step, I'll take 2.
Yep.
But when they outsmart me,
Yeah.
I don't know what happens up here. Because I loved them before they showed me, and I'm just being real honest.
No, I
and their
love your
idea
honesty.
takes us to the next level.
Amen.
Like this girl right here, she's just so smart, so intelligent,
Yep.
so quick, so techie, and she comes up with great ideas.
Yep.
And when they don't work, it really bothers her.
Yeah.
She's conscious of her failures enough to make them even better
great.
accomplishments. But see, I'm not thinking like that. I'm
No.
like, that should have been my idea. I'm the CEO. This is not how it works here.
Yeah.
So I just go, I said, I've got to go check on somebody or meet a donor. It's usually a lie. I just need to get away there 30 minutes. 'Cause I'm in my car like cussing everybody
Yeah.
pulled out in front. So how do
love
you deal with a
Yeah.
6 who's a good, you live with 1,
Yeah.
and then I really have an awesome relationship with the Lord. So I've
Yep,
got
yep.
7 and believe for miracles and great things every day
Yep.
because that's what he's promised.
Yep.
So, but I can go to a 1, just
And I'm.
what do you do with that? That's
and
a
I'm
great
gonna.
question.
Yep. I'm gonna. And what's your first name?
Rick,
Rick. So Rick, what you're talking about is
I need the candy.
you're triggering. You're triggering, right? You're triggering. But because you're being honest and we're in the nest, remember this is the nest, I want to offer you something and you can tell me whether this resonates or not. And I can also tell you that I'm working in a tech environment with really young, brilliant people. And it's weird, right? Like I'm old enough to be their mom and some of them almost their grandma. Like these are young kids, right? So what opportunity is there that it feels that you're having feelings of not enough or not being able to measure up or keep up? Is it possible there's any of that going on for you on the inside? Yeah. So thank you for that. Give him love, you guys, because it's awesome when people share that. So here's what I would say to you is, and it kind of goes back to what we were saying. When we have catabolic energy like level 1, we take things very personal, right? We take things very personal. Now, you use the example of your colleague who she takes a lot of pride in her work. If it doesn't work out, she takes it very seriously. She tries to make it better. That's a little different. What we're talking about, and I'm guilty of it too, is, and especially if you're the CEO or that you're in charge, you feel like, well, I'm the boss. I should be doing that. Because what happens, and we all do it at times, we're thinking everything is a reflection of us. It's not. Those young people in our workspaces are defining their careers, their lives, doing their thing. You've kind of been there, done it, right? You've kind of been there, done it. Their skill set is different than yours. But when you're with them and you have those feelings of sometimes we feel inadequate, right? Sometimes we feel like I don't even understand. I tell people, I have no idea what you're talking about. Can you put that in like kindergarten language so I understand it? Because I don't understand tech, right? But it's right, but you know this too. It's humility, right? So remember that with level 1 and level 2, we sometimes have a little ego, and that's okay, right? We're maybe a little prideful, right? But we're also feeling sometimes inadequate because we've got that limiting belief that maybe I'm not enough. Maybe I'm an imposter. Why am I leading a team of tech people when they know more than I do? Well, you're leading a team of tech people because you have leadership ability and experience. You have something different than they have. But all of it's necessary for your organization, I don't know what it is, but for your organization to work. So I would just offer you that when you feel that, because obviously you're very in tune, your level 6 is very strong, all of that, you're really a person who's more about service and compassion and caring and those things. When you feel that level 1 energy of I just want to wring this guy's neck, I would tell you to be aware of it, which you are, right? I'm feeling that right now. And how can you shift that by leaning into that person versus pushing them away? I'm going to say that again. How can you shift that by leaning in to that really smart young person rather than pushing them away? What might that look like? Yeah. Yep. Yep. No, no. How to do it. And here's the thing, and thank you for sharing that. I'm gonna ask you a question. And I'm raising my hand. When you have the I want to choke 'em moment, like in your head, how do you feel about yourself after you kind of move through that? You didn't have to show it, like you didn't act on it, but like, how do you feel about yourself when that's over?
Makes me feel like a hard leader, a bad leader. Like that was not leadership skill to
Yes.
like can't
Yes.
handle that they just zoom by me.
Yes.
Yeah, so
And
I have to reel myself in.
Yeah,
what I've used.
and we all do, and it's totally normal. And then when you had the interaction and you were complimented on, being that leader and embracing that person, how do you feel after that? How do you
Feel like
great.
a good leader, like I
Yes.
led well.
Yes,
so.
excellent. Thank you. So here's the yes, please. Yes.
The thing that Eric did, people don't do enough, which is to say, I saw what you did and it was really valuable. I saw what you did and it was really valuable. And the reason why we may think it, but if we're not telling people that is a dopamine hit. And that means they are very likely to repeat that positive behavior. So think about that with your employees, your coworkers, your clients. We're so quick to pick things apart, but hunt for the great, hunt for the good, and then say it. That's all.
Thank you, Maggie. Give Mag some love. Thank you, Mag. So here's the thing about energy shift, you guys, that I can tell you from my story, and I appreciate you guys I share my story because I hope it resonates, and I just want you to know that this is a journey for all of us, right? Nobody nails this and gets it right 100%. I love myself so much more now than I did when I was fiery, right? Because when I show up, I'm showing up in a way that when I walk away, I go, I did good with that one. And I have some days I go, not so good. Didn't do so good there. But when I have those moments when I show up in a way that's more in line with where I am today. So remember that managing this energy, right, and letting it serve you versus working against you, it is self-care, right? Everybody in this room really understands, I know, the importance of self-care. It is a form of self-care. Because if we walk through our day feeling bad about, I shouldn't have yelled at that guy, why did I lose my temper over there, whatever, fill in the blank, by the end of the day, you're exhausted, you're drained, you're depleted, right? Very different than, let me take a moment and not react to every single stimuli outside of my body, right? Trigger, right? Happens. If you allow it. The best thing we can do is remember, everybody's defining their own story. Own your story, end your day, put your head on the pillow and say, I did pretty good today. There was a couple of times I wanted to lose it and I didn't. I might have lost it once, but that's okay. Give yourself a break, get up tomorrow and do it again, right? I promise you, you will see an improvement not only with your relationship with other people, but your relationship with yourself, right? Make sense? All right, thank you again for sharing. I really appreciate that. All right. So let's get into your results. Yay! Okay, in your books, you're going to see a graph like this, guys, this little blue graph. We're going to dig in now. I'm going to move us along because we got like 15, 20 minutes, Mag. Is that where we are? All right, how many? Okay, we'll get through it. All right, everybody got your page out? Okay, awesome. Perfect. All right, so your energetic profile, I want you to look at that top box. You see that top box? Energetic profile is you in your normal day-to-day life. You get up in the morning, you go about your day, nothing crazy happens, right? Everything's pretty good, right? It's just you on a normal day. When we look at this particular one, and this actually isn't my husband, this is somebody different, but when we look at this energetic profile, what it's telling us is this person, on average, throughout the course of the day, has a lot of level 6 energy, a lot of level 5, a lot of level 4, has a small amount of level 1 and 2, right? So most of this person's energy in their normal day-to-day leans more towards anabolic. And remember, we're moving through these all day long. We're not like stuck in a 6 or stuck in a 5. We're moving through them, okay? Make sense? That's your energetic profile. If you go to the bottom box, you see what happens, right? And anybody's not look like this, it kind of flips, right? When you go to the bottom box, you'll notice that typically for most people, your level 1 and 2 kind of goes off the charts, right? Because this is your energetic stress reactor. It's what we were just talking about. It's I go through my day and I'm a good person, I'm kind of cool, I'm getting along with everybody, I'm doing my thing, but something happens and I revert back to what I call what's in my DNA, right? I've been conditioned to react in a certain way because it's what I've always done, okay? When you look at your energetic stress reactor, I want you to take a look at something that I think is interesting. This one's a little bit harder to do it with, but I'll show you. This person here has more victim under stress than they do confrontation, right? Do you see what I'm saying? 36.1% of my energy is in level 1. That's the why is it happening to me? I've got a little bit of anger, right? Defiance, confrontation. I've got a little bit of level 3 and so on and so on. When we are in our stress reactor, I want you to look at your chart. In that bottom box, I want you to look at what's the longest line you have that is not catabolic. What's the longest line you have that isn't catabolic? Has everybody picked that? Can you see it? Okay. When you look at that, and I'm going to give you an example. If when you're under stress, and we know level 1 and 2 is going to be off the charts, I want you to look for the line that is the anabolic energy. That is your way out. Hear me out on this. That's your way out. So I'll give you an example. If you have under stress, you got a lot of level 1, level 2 going on, and your energy level 4, compassion, service, is long, it's possibly an indicator that you get better when you do acts of service. So I'm going to give you an example. I'm stressed, things are going bad for me, something's going on. You know what? I know if I go do something for someone else, I'm going to feel better. Does that sound familiar? Anybody ever hear yourself say things like that? I know, yes, right? I know if I go do something for someone else, I'm going to feel better. So instead of sitting here in my funk, right, instead of being like all, hard on myself, wait a minute, what is it that brings me joy? I feel best when I do acts of service for somebody else. And look, it doesn't have to be, go feed the homeless. It can be getting up and making your kid lunch or making your spouse lunch or whatever that is for you, right? Look for that long line. I want you to think about it when you were a kid and if for anybody that ever had the little ropes and you'd swing out over the water and you'd fall in the water, that long line in that bottom chart, any of those long lines, look for the longest ones. That's how you get out. Now, there are people that, I'm serious now, live their life primarily in a catabolic state. Does anybody know anybody? I can think of at least 3 people right now, right? Always victims, always, nothing's ever good. They'll never get a break, blah, 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 right? When I work with those people, man, I lean hard into whatever I can find here that gives me hope that I can help them pull out. I'm going to pause for a minute. I want you guys to talk a little bit. We'll take a few minutes. Talk amongst yourself about your longest line. You can go back in your book and look at it if you need a descriptor. What's something you can do when you're in a catabolic state to pull yourself out? You guys follow? All right, let's just take a couple minutes. Jump in there with each other. Grab a partner. Is it good? Oh, I'm so happy. All right, let's come back together, guys. I wish, I'm telling you, I could do this like for 8 hours. Lots to talk about. All right. So we know what my next question is. Yay! Okay, we have a share right here. Let's bring it in, you guys. We have a share. Yes, thank you. What was your first name?
Allie.
Allie. Allie's going to share, you guys.
So I'm a level 4, and so when I was noticing too, is like I am very active service, and so for my team, when we're having like a bad day, I'll come in the next morning and bring like a big treat, or we'll have like Red Bulls or something, and so and then I feel better.
Yes, perfect example. Give her some love, you guys. Perfect example, right? Team had a bad day, right? Team's having a bad day. You're the leader, right? You want to feel better. They want to feel better, so you do an active service. It's perfect, and that's exactly what leadership looks like, right? One more share. Yes, thank you. I'm running. There's no lions, but I'm running.
Sprint. Thank you. Yeah, I was looking at mine, and one of mine is a level 3 for like response to a stressful situation, and I found that kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Because when we were like reading the examples of what level 3 energy is, it says that sometimes it's just like a compromise, and I think that could be like detrimental.
Okay.
So using like a level 3 mindset of, compromising and, settling really, to solve a stressful situation seems like it would be not the best thing all the time. So I was wondering.
Yes, I'm going to help you with that.
Please
Really
do.
good question. So you're totally getting it. So what he just asked is a great question. Here's the thing to remember about your energetic stress reactor. It's temporary. It's temporary. What's your first name? Chris? I don't have I should put my glass on. Chris. So for Chris, what he's saying is, hey, 3 is kind of my way out, but that kind of feels like I might be settling or good enough. Here's what I'm offering you. When you are in your stress reactor, the goal is to get out, right? And it's temporary. So if you say to yourself, you know what's best for me right now? I'm going to, your mind's saying this, I'm going to leave this alone. I'm not going to prove my point. I'm just going to say, hey, we're going to agree to disagree, and I walk away. Are you settling in that moment? Kind of, but what are you doing more importantly? What are you doing for yourself? You're putting it to bed. Because here's the thing. Sometimes when you're in level 1, level 2, especially with another person, has anybody read the book Let Them? Oh my God, you guys have to read the book Let Them. Did you like it? Yes. Do you like it? It's so great. If you get an opportunity, read it, but here's my point. There comes a time when your peace and your mental health is more important than proving a point. And if you are engaging with someone who, no matter what you say, no matter what you do, you're not changing their mind. Their mind's made up because they haven't had energy training, so they're not as cool as you and they can't figure out getting out of their own way. But they're not there, right? But when you say, remember what I told you, learning to tap into your energy is a form of self-care. If Chris finds himself in that situation and he's like, I don't really want to give into this, but you know what? I'm over this, man. Like, I'm done. I don't want to have this conversation, or I don't want to do this thing, whatever that is. That's self-care. Now, in his normal day-to-day life, he may not do that, right? He may stand his ground. It might be a productive conversation. It might be a productive interaction, right? He may just kind of do that banter because it's not harming him. He's not having a lot of catabolic. It's okay. We're having a conversation. We're disagreeing on something, no problem. But if you know that you are kind of in the rabbit hole and you need to get out any way you can. Get out any way you can. Because people that stay in catabolic states too long, you guys, it's very, very damaging. Very, very damaging. And again, you guys work with a lot of victims and people that are in very traumatic situations, so you see it.
I just have a question. Can you just give example for my energy level is 5 to fix it? What is the X?
Let me see your chart, friend.
You can
Yeah.
see me.
I can see you now that I have my glasses on. There we go. Okay. So you don't mind me is it okay if I talk about this? Okay, great. All right. So in what was your first name?
Fenty.
Fenty? Okay, Fenty. Okay. All right. So in her situation, she's got a lot of level 1, a lot of level 2 like the rest of us. But she also has a lot of level 5 even when she's under stress. What is level 5, guys? Somebody tell me. What's level 5? It's one of the strongest leadership energy levels, so a natural ability to leave. Perfect, Stace. Yep, yep. Level 5 is about reconciliation and acceptance. Reconciliation and acceptance. Whoop, this isn't yours, this is mine, this is yours. So for you, if you are in your stress reactor, what do you think the opportunity is? With what I just told you, or somebody else help her. What's her opportunity? If she's got a strong level 5 and she's in her stress reactor and she's trying to get out, she still has a lot of level 5 that she can grab onto. What could she do? What might that look like for her? Look at your level 5 in your book. Okay, talk more about that because that's awesome.
That suck.
Yep.
And there's not a whole lot. Maybe it's legislation, maybe it's funding sources, or maybe it's just situation. So just recognizing, like schlepping in that a little
Yep.
bit, like, yeah, that sucks.
Yep.
That is the reality. I'm not going to fight against reality
Excellent.
because it's not going to get me anywhere.
Yep.
How can I move forward?
Excellent. Give her a round of applause. That's awesome. So this is important. I'm glad you asked this question. This is about what do I control? What do I not control? Reconciliation. Reconcile for yourself in the situation, especially for you with your energy. Reconcile it. Put logic to it. Okay, wait a minute. What am I upset about right now? I'm upset because our funding got cut off. Okay, I can't do not one damn thing about that, right? What can I do? And shift your energy to what are the things you can do to bring yourself back, because you like peace, peace is important to you. What can I do in this moment to give myself a break? I can't change their decision to cut my funding. What can I do to kind of get back to where I want to be today? Does that make sense to you? It does? Okay, good. Does that make sense to you guys? Yeah? Okay, great. All right, thank you. Thank you for the help over there. That was perfect. All right. So energetic stress reaction. The bottom there is the average resonating level. This person was a 3.69. Here's the great thing about this energy leadership assessment. Let's pretend that we do this a year from now, and Stacy says, Kat, we're gonna do those assessments again. Do you think your assessment will be the same? No. Maybe, maybe not. What's cool for me in coaching is I do it at the beginning when I coach the person, and then I do it at the end, right? So if that person has really embraced and really done a lot of work in their coaching, that average resonating level goes up. This assessment is backed by studies that prove the higher your average resonating level, the more joy the person typically experiences. Knowing what you know now, why would you think that's true? Why would that number being higher indicate that you are a person that has more joy in your life? Why? You're in more control of your feelings, and not only in control of them, what else are you? You're aware of them. You're spending less time in 1 and 2, but you're more understanding of yourself, how I'm feeling, what's happening, why is this guy pissing me off so bad? I'm not doing this today. I want to go back to peace. Chris is gonna put this down and walk away because it's not worth it. I can't do anything. But if we are a person, and listen, I've been guilty, that spends our life trying to people please. We want everybody to like us. Whatever, doesn't work. The relationship with yourself is first. How are you showing up for yourself? And then in turn, everybody around you benefits. You guys agree with that statement? Right? Okay. All right, very good.
We're just
Are we almost there? Yeah. Okay. Okay. We're there? Okay. 5 more minutes. I'll go quick. Yep, I'm moving along. Okay, so we're going to jump ahead. So we've talked a lot already, but I want to last piece I want to do, and then we're going to wrap up. All of these energy levels have specific core thoughts, core thoughts, emotions, and results. Every energy has a core thought, emotion, and results. Level 1, the core thought is, I'm a victim. Why is this happening to me? The emotion is apathy, and the result is, I don't have any energy. I'm lethargic. I feel weighed down. So when I tell you guys the importance of the thought, it all starts here, right? It all starts here. I'll give you a difference. Level 5, the thought is reconciliation. If I go into my life with level 5 saying, if I am under stress, if I encounter something, I'm going to look for reconciliation. What do I control? What don't I control, right? What can I affect? What I can't? Things would feel very different, right? But if I'm constantly walking around with a mindset of, I always lose, right? Everything always happens to me. Everything in my life looks bad. So we're not going to get into it too much, but it's in your book. That thought, emotion, and result. You guys have heard your thoughts control your actions. You hear people say that all the time? It's 100% true. 100% true. And the other thing we need to remember as we wrap up today, energy begets energy. You attract the energy you put out. I have many friends, and I know Tina and Stacy will laugh with me. I have friends, and we joke, and they go, I got a bad man picker. They'll say that. It's like a joke we have. They'll say, I got a bad man picker. We have to make sure we're checking in with our own energy, right? What we put out is what we attract. As we learn to manage our energy, to operate more anabolically, we'll start to find that we're more attracted to people that are like us. You ever have the group of friends you don't want to go to brunch with because all they do is complain? You ever have that? Or you go to the family reunion and they're all sitting around kibitzing and all that, and you're like, this isn't really a lot of fun? Well, I encourage you, you got to do with your family. We all got to do that. But when you're choosing who you want to be with, choose people that are uplifting. people that are faith-based, people that have a church community, people that have a neighborhood community, wherever you do your thing, when you're with that group, right, that you choose to be with, and they feel uplifting to you, energy begets energy. They're uplifting, you're uplifting, right? It feels completely different. Be mindful of what you feed your mind, the people you hang around with, what you're watching on TV, what you're listening to. All of those things affect the way you're thinking, and I promise you they will affect your emotional state and the way that you're showing up and how you're acting. All right, I'm going to bring this to a close. I told you I could have been here like all day with you guys. Yeah, we got to get going though. So let's do this. I want to do a quick closing activity. I want you guys to take a second and pick up that card that you had when you came in. And I think I asked you to write it down. Hopefully you remember like what you were feeling when you came in here. So there's two things I want you to do. One, when you came in and reflected on how you felt, what level of energy did you say you had? We're talking about the feeling. Then I want you to think about, has that changed you? If it hasn't, it hasn't. Doesn't matter. There's no right, wrong answer here yet. What were you feeling when you came in? If you were able to assign an energy level to it, if you had to get it, what would that be? And has your energy shifted at all during this session? And if so, what's changed for you? Does that make sense? Yeah? Kind of, sort of? Questions? Good? All right. 3 to 4 minutes. Get with each other and talk through it. The emergency stairs that we're going to have. All right, party people, let's bring it together. You guys have been awesome, by the way. My energy's like through the roof right now, so thank you. I'm like ready to go out there and just be great today. All right, so, and I totally get goosebumps. What is this new goosebump thing I have going on? I don't know what's happening. It's very bizarre, but I'm just going to go with it. Okay, who wants to share? So, yeah, thank you. Perfect, thank you. Hold on, we need a mic, You got a mic, you got a mic?
A mic for Rick.
All right, Rick, thank you, buddy. Get ready if you're going to share, because we
Yeah,
want to
get
hear.
ready to laugh, I think, because
Yeah,
he's going to
okay,
say something
awesome.
funny. You're going to say something funny.
You don't get my candy, that's what I want to say to you. I did a husband and wife hugging and looking at furniture and stuff for a new house. And I came in a 6 because we're getting ready to do a remodel and we're really involved on it, and you know she knows what she wants. I mean not in a good way. She
Yeah.
did the research.
Awesome.
It made me go to 7.
Are you guys together? Oh, okay. Now I get it. Okay, got it. Awesome.
It didn't make me go to a 7, but a 2nd, because I wanted to stay in the 6.
Okay.
I was pleased and loving, supporting, and building up. And it made me feel like I was encouraging her.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you.
She liked it.
Awesome. Okay, great. Thank
And
you.
I didn't tell her nothing.
Give Rick some love, you guys. Awesome.
I think it's going to work out between you two, just so you know. I don't have any candy.
All
I'll
right.
get it for you.
One right here, Mag. Thank you. And then I'm gonna
Tony.
get somebody on this side of the room.
All right, so when you look at it from far away, you probably see the beautiful pastel colors, which are actually like the pastel versions of my organization's colors. They're jewel tones of these same colors. And then you may notice that there is a, finger. And when Maggie walked past earlier and said, flexible is my favorite F word, I apparently responded out loud second, because on the nail, which you can't see from far away, but if you look close, it says fuck.
Okay.
And this was how I was feeling, is that overall, there's like all this joy and all this learning and all these beautiful colors in this room of bringing things together. And we have to realize that we're doing this into something of a bit of chaos and that there is some fuckery going on in the world. But if you look at it from a distance, you can forget the fuckery and just do the job. And so I think I came in as a 5 because it's that reconciliation of, yes, I have to acknowledge that this exists in the world,
Yep.
but I'm not going to focus on it.
Great.
I'm going to focus on the other things, and that's where I want to be. And I have a thing at my desk that's a beautiful picture frame, and my friend gave me all these different cards to put in it, and they all have the word fuck on them. And this one says, and it reminded me of this, folding my worries into paper airplanes and turning them into cute little flying
Love it.
fucks.
Awesome. All right, thank
Mic
you. Give
drop,
her some
I
love.
think.
Yeah, mic drop.
Mic drop.
How about this side of the room? Anybody? Oh, thank you.
I totally did it wrong. I didn't know I was supposed to pick a card based off of how I was feeling. But I picked the eyeball because I like people's eyes because it tells me a lot about them, and I can figure things out. And so that absolutely explains me as pretty much a 3.5. I'm always trying to figure something out and come up with a solution and give good advice and explain away and do all of that stuff. So I just thought I would share that because that's kind of why I picked that. And it just explains who I am. So
Thank you so much. Thank you. Awesome.
Does it explain why you like car washes? And no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
One more share. Anybody? One more? Yes? Good. Awesome, Chris. Thank you.
Sorry to talk again, guys. But I chose not being cracked because I came in at kind of a 2, frustrated for a lot of reasons, mostly work-related. But now I'm kind of feeling like a 5, where I feel like it's, there's something to do, and I don't have to completely destroy the nut with the cracker. So we can figure it out. It'll be fine. But yeah.
Thank you. Awesome, Chris. Thank you. Awesome, awesome. All right. So let me just leave you guys with this, and then I think you're grabbing lunch, it sounded like. I have this sign in my office right now, and it says, please take responsibility for the energy you bring into this space. And when I offer that to you, it starts with me. So when I walk in, I want to make sure you understand, when I walk in my office every day, that's a message for me first, right? Please take responsibility for the energy you bring in this space. And with the people I work with now, we actually joke about it. Everybody calls it the safe space. People come in, they plop down, they go, this is a safe space, right? I'm like, yep, you're good. And we'll have a little chat and then they'll leave, right? But I just really encourage you guys, take responsibility for the energy you're bringing into your space, into your family, into your world, right? Be kind to yourself, right? There's no good or bad or right or wrong, right? People don't get up in the morning and go, I'm just going to be an idiot. I'm just going to be mean to everybody today, right? Nobody gets up and does that. Pay attention to your environment. Know what your triggers are. Get real with yourself about what you're feeling, and just take a few minutes to step back and get curious and say, not today. Today I'm going to do something different because everything is different and the only thing that changed is me. Have a great rest of your session. I love being with you guys and I wish you all safe travel home.